Hi, I'm Diana Felzam for FoxNews.com. With kids out of school for the summer, parents need to pay close attention to keeping them safe. You might have grown up with the idea of stranger danger, but my next guest says it's time for some new safety rules for kids. Samantha Kurtzman-Counter, president of the Mother Company, joins me now.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is the Mother Company?
Well, the Mother Company is a multimedia children's company, and we are founded and run entirely by moms. And we're guided by the mission to help parents raise good people. That's our whole plan, and that's what we're trying to do.
We need more good people in this world. We really do.
We definitely do.
So tell me about the new book you have coming out.
We have a great new book that's called A Little Book About Safety, and it's our first book in our safety series at the Mother Company. It's about little Hugo Hippo, who spends the day at the community pool with his family, and he has to make safe choices throughout his day, which all our children do. So he learns to cover up his private parts when he's putting on his bathing suit. That's something that children always need to remember to do. He learns to check first with a safe adult before he goes anywhere or does anything unexpected. And he learns to he figures out what to do when he gets lost and separated from his parents, which happens so often to kids during the summer.
And speaking of that, let's go through a few safety scenarios. What's the number one scenario that children might find themselves in and really need some guidance?
During the summer especially, it's so easy for kids to get lost. They're in new situations, there's tons of people around, parents might be distracted at parties or at the beach or at the pool or wherever they are. So number one is trying to figure out what to do when they get lost. And they need tools. You know, kids used to think, we were told, go find a police officer.
Right.
It's almost impossible to find a police officer. Like, they're not around when you need them. So what we teach children is, number one, stop where you are and yell. That's number one. That's the very first thing. Lots of times, kids will go running and looking around for their parents. It's going to be really hard to find them in those crowded situations.
And when you say yell, do they yell
mama or yell their name, because obviously there are a lot of mamas around.
Would that be good to know for the child to differentiate, like, I'm your mama, but my first name is, if you get lost?
Absolutely. Your children should learn your full name and your phone number, and that's something we really advocate too, and something we have in A Little Book About Safety is little Hugo Hippo has to remember his phone number because he gets lost, and it's really hard for kids to do, especially young kids. So we say, practice your phone number. Do a craft. We have a craft at themotherco.com where you can practice your phone number by making these really fun bracelets that have your phone number on the inside. And there's all sorts of ways to do that so that your kid remembers your full name and your phone number just in case you get separated.
What about the situation of a stranger approaching in a car? What do you advise for a child to do in that situation?
One thing that we really advise if a stranger approaches you is that you have a password. Have a password that your family and your trusted caregivers know. So just in case, because often if somebody's coming up to you in a car, they're going to say, oh, your mom told me to pick you up. They're going to try to convince the child that they actually know your parents. So if they have a password that nobody knows except their parents and caregivers, that will keep them safe.
I once read a very interesting story about a little girl who was trying to be taken by a man who was saying, you know, I have a sick little doggy that needs some help. And she said, well, I don't like dogs. So we quickly changed it to I have a kitty. And she was more willing to go with him then. So are those scenarios that parents can practice, they can role play with their kids?
Absolutely. Role-playing is super helpful in those situations. But also one important thing to teach your children is that adults should not be asking children for help. Safe adults do not ask children for help. They ask other adults for help. Kids don't need to be helping any adults with any problems that they have. And if that does happen, go check first with your safe adult. So no matter what, I mean, that's a number one priority with safety for kids, is check first, whether it's someone you don't know who's pulling up in a car or it's your Uncle Joe. Don't go anywhere unless you've checked first.
Well, that's the other thing about familiarity, because many of the time it's someone that the child might know who could be a perpetrator. So what if a family friend, a family member even, sadly enough, says they have a secret, they have something they want to tell the child? How do you recommend a parent deals with that?
Once again, you know, safe adults will not be telling children secrets either. I mean, that's just another thing to just get into your kid's head, is that safe adults don't tell children secrets. So The thing that they have to do in all these situations is just check first. It should just become a habit. It's not scary. It can be just check first when your brother asks you to go to the park. Check first when a stranger asks you to do something. Just check first. Then your kid will not live in fear all the time because you're not saying, stay away from strangers. We talk to strangers every single day, and you want your kids to be friendly and just like you are when you go to the grocery store.
And socially well-adjusted.
Yes, it's the most mixed message in the world to say don't talk to strangers and stranger danger, when really, as you said, the sad truth is that 90% of the harm that's done to young kids is by someone they know.
Right, and that's another thing where they probably should be told by parents and relatives, it's okay to tell me everything and anything if something makes you uncomfortable. Don't feel any of that shame. Now, we have a few safety tips for kids up on that full screen. The parts of your body on your bathing suit are private, and this is, like you said, most important for summertime.
Yeah, and we always tell kids, private parts are called private parts for a reason.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're private. They always laugh, and So we just say any of the areas covered by your bathing suit are private. It doesn't have to be icky. It can just be the plain truth.
Exactly. Now, is there any other advice that you want to leave us with?
Sure. Another incredible thing that children need to learn is to trust their own internal uh-oh feeling. That's number one, because we cannot be with our children all the time. And at the Mother Company, we're all about empowering kids to be smart about their own safety, so no matter what situation they're in, they will know what to do. And the way that they can do that is by trusting that their uh-oh feeling is right.
Yeah.
And as parents, we have to validate that. So if your kid is like, I don't want to, walk down the street that way, you say, good for you, we're going to cross the street. You got to validate that uh-oh feeling so they know as they go through life how to keep themselves safe.
Thank you so much for all these very helpful tips and for keeping our kids safe.
It is my pleasure. Thanks so much.
For more information, check out the Mother Company's website at themotherco.com. Thanks for watching.